The Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck might be the best structure deck that we have ever seen within the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG. Not only have we got a bunch of hand traps in here, which makes this deck incredibly good value for money, but also we are getting a meta-relevant deck based on a nostalgia card like Blue Eyes White Dragon. That is a combination for absolute success in my eyes. So we have picked up, of course, 3 copies of the Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck. We're going to see what we can build with it. I'm going to open it up so you can see whether I get any of the QCR pulls and see what we grab in there. And we're going to build a deck just from these 3 structure decks. So if you're excited for this, or if you like our content that we have on the channel, then please do subscribe down below. It'd be very helpful to me if you could. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of May, so it'd be very much appreciated if you could help me reach that goal. But with that, let's crack open these structure decks and let's see what's inside. So I haven't actually seen the full contents of what is in Blue Eyes White Destiny. I just know that there are a bunch of hand traps going on in here. We've got a really good new support for Blue Eyes, but I've kind of not looked up everything that is in this particular structure deck. Oh, I believe that will be the QCR. Well, the potential for a QCR, the promo card that is in the deck. And then we also have the deck itself. So what we're going to be doing, let's just rip this apart. What we're going to be doing is building this deck from scratch. Just using these 3 structure decks. Everything that we've got in these structure decks is what we're going to be using for a future deck within, well, a future deck, the deck that we're going to do in this video. Let's see if we can get this open. Finally got into it. That took a little while. The joys of editing means that you won't have necessarily seen all of that. But yeah, that was rough to get into. I'm just going to leave this card here because I assume that we're going to reveal all of these at the end here. So of course we've got the Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon in here, Spirit with Eyes of Blue, the new Link monster for the strategy, and Maiden of White. These are all brand new cards that have that really push Blue Eyes into the stratosphere with how powerful they can be. We've got Wishes for Eyes of Blue, and then Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Some beautiful ultra rare cards in here. Neo Kaiser Seahorse, Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons, Majesty of the White Dragons. There's so many hollows in here as well, which is really nice. Of course, we've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon. I would have liked to have seen like an original artwork. Yeah, no original artwork, unfortunately. So 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in these structure decks. Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, of course. Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Dragon Spirit of White. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, of course. Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. White Stone of Legend. White Stone of Ancients. Sage of Eyes of Blue. 3 copies of Sage. Master with Eyes of Blue. Dictator of D. Okay. 2 copies of Dictator of D. And then, of course, we've got our hand traps as well. So we've got Nibiru in here. An Ash Blossom in here, a Veiler in here, 2 Veilers, wow, okay. Chaos Form, got Ultimate Fusion, 2 of. Malady of Awakening Dragon, of which we've got a 2 of. Mausoleum of White, Bitter Stream of Destruction, Trade-In. Trade-In's a fairly useful card as well. Getting these as a 2 of in there is pretty useful. Called by the Grave as well, another really strong staple. True Light. The Ultimate Creature of Destruction. Destined Rivals. Imperm. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. That is a really cool artwork. Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Wow, the extra deck in this is really strong as well. Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. and Hieratic Seals of the Heavenly Spheres. That is a really strong structure deck. There's a lot in there going on. Obviously, we've got 3, so we've got a bunch that we can go for. So, I'm just going to open the other 2 up. We're going to grab the promos, and I'm going to reveal what I got from the promos here. And then, obviously, the structure decks are all the same. So they don't need to be, I don't need to go through each of those, but obviously we're going to be using all 3 for our deck profile for today. So, the promos that we have got, let's turn that around. All right, we got a secret rare Maiden of White. Oh, that's a beautiful card, a secret rare. Blue Eyes, Ultimate Spirit Dragon. And another. That is a gorgeous card. That is beautiful. Very, very, very nice. All right, with these 3 decks, let's see what we can put together as a deck profile. Okay, now that we've seen what is in the structure decks, let us just build this deck that is purely going to be using cards from the structure deck. So there is no added engines in here or anything like that. It is purely from the structure deck. So we are starting off with 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Obviously, Blue Eyes is the nostalgia piece within the deck. I'm running one of each of the artworks as well, but honestly, because I'm using everything from the structure deck, that's why that's there. But honestly, I'm going to grab some of the old Blue Eyes original artworks as well because they are so cool. Next up, we are running 3 copies of Maiden of White. So, Maiden of White is new support within Blue Eyes. It has the effect of you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to place 1 true light from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap zone. If you special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon whilst this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. When a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 level 1 Light Tuner from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of Maiden of White once per turn. Excellent card within the new strategies that we've got within the deck. It makes life so much easier with Blue Eyes. Next up, we are playing 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. When this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 level 1 Light Tuner from your deck to your hand, except Sage with Eyes of Blue. You can discard this card, then target 1 effect monster that you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, you can only use this effect of Sage with Eyes of Blue once per turn. Next up, we are playing 3 copies of Neo Kaiser Seahorse. If you control Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can target 1 Light Tuner you control, increase or decrease its level by 1. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send 1 Blue Eyes monster or 1 monster that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to the graveyard, except Neo Kaiser Seahorse. You can only use each effect of Neo Kaiser Seahorse once per turn. Again, fantastic new card for the strategy. Absolutely brilliant. Next up, we are playing 2 copies of Dictator of D. While you control a Blue Eyes monster, you choose the attack targets for your opponent's attacks. You can only use each of the following effects of Dictator of D once per turn. You can send 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. You can discard 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 card that mentions it, then target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Next up, we are playing some single copies. We are playing a single copy of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. So it cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by revealing Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. You can only special summon Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon once per turn this way. This card's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon whilst on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. This card cannot attack the turn that this effect is activated. And we are playing a single copy of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Other cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon once per turn, and it can only activate them whilst Blue Eyes White Dragon is on your field or in your graveyard.
If a card on the field is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon this card from the graveyard if it was there when the card was destroyed, or hand even if not. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. Really powerful card. I love Blue Eyes Jet Dragon a lot. And then finishing off the Blue Eyes cards, we are playing a single copy of the White Stone of Ancients. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon one Blue Eyes monster from your deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard and target one Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard to add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of the White Stone of Ancients once per turn. And then because of the power of this structure deck, we can finish off the monsters with 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, which is searchable within the strategy, and 3 copies of Nibiru. So all of this being in the structure deck is absolutely insane, and I'm so happy that we could get a structure deck that gives us these hand traps alongside it, so it becomes a very powerful deck straight away without having to spend extra money on the Ash Blossoms or the Nibirus, because they are quite expensive cards in the grand scheme of things. But that is it for the monsters. Let us move on to the spells and traps. First of all, we are playing a single copy of Mausoleum of White. During your main phase, you can normal summon one level 1 Light Tuner in addition to your normal summon or set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster that you control, send one normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, the targeted monster gains attack and defense equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 100 until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Burst Stream of Destruction from your deck to your hand. I'm just putting Burst Stream of Destruction in the side deck. I'm not showing you any form of side deck. So Burst Stream of Destruction is not on here, but Mausoleum of White is a strong card regardless of that last effect. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Wishes for Eyes of Blue. Discard 1 card, add 1 level 1 Light Tuner and 1 spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand, except for Wishes for Eyes of Blue. You can banish this card from your graveyard and target 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon you control. Equip one Blue Eyes monster from your extra deck to it as an equip spell that gives it 400 attack. You can only use each effect of Wishes for Eyes of Blue once per turn. An incredible new card that we've got within this structure deck. Absolutely insane how strong that is. Next up, we are playing 2 copies of Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. Special summon in defense position 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, graveyard or banishment, but if you control no Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can only special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon with this effect. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except dragon monsters. You can banish this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including a Blue Eyes monster. You can only use 1 Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragon's effect per turn, and only once that turn. Next up, we are playing a single copy of Ultimate Fusion. During the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as material by shuffling the materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck. And then you can destroy face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon used from the field as material. You can only activate one Ultimate Fusion per turn. And finally, the final sort of staple that you get in here, we are playing 1 copy of Call by the Grave because it comes with the structure deck and it is an incredibly powerful card. Moving on to the traps, we are playing a single copy of True Light. Your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragon in your monster zone with card effects. If this face-up card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. You can only use the following effects of True Light once per turn. You can activate one of these effects. Special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard, or set 1 spell or trap from your deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon with a different name from the card you control and in your graveyard. Really, really powerful card, True Light. And we are playing 2 copies of Majesty of the White Dragons. Show up to 3 of the Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, face-up monster zone and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. You can banish this card from your graveyard, ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand by attributing Blue Eyes White Dragons from your hand or field whose total levels equal its level. You can only use each effect of Majesty of the White Dragons once per turn. So Majesty of the White Dragons is useful if you are playing the ritual cards, but just having a trap card that is an automatic pop 3 essentially is just incredible. And finally, because it's in the structure deck, we are playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence as well. So that is everything for the main deck. Let's move on to our extra deck. You've got a lot of options in the extra deck, to be honest. Lots of different sort of options of how many of these cards that you can play. But we are starting off with 2 copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Requires 2+ tuners plus 1 non-tuner Blue Eyes monster. Your opponent cannot banish cards from your graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon once per turn. When a card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, this card gains 1000 attack until the end of this turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 light dragon monster from your graveyard, except Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Fantastic card to have in the strategy to be able to get that negate and just be able to still extend even if it gets destroyed. So yeah, absolutely excellent card, alongside 3 copies of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Now the player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. Once per turn, when an effect of a card in the graveyard is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation. Quick effect, you can tribute this synchro summoned card, special summoned 1 light dragon synchro monster from your extra deck in defense position, except Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. So you can just simply go from the Spirit Dragon into the Ultimate Spirit Dragon, just using the effect of Spirit Dragon. And we are playing a single copy of Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. If this card is special summoned, until the end of the next turn, neither player can target dragon monsters you currently control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Next up, moving on to the fusions now, we are playing a single copy of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. At the end of the damage step, if this fusion summoned card attacked and this is the only face-up card you control, you can send 1 Blue Eyes fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. This card can attack again in a row. You can use this effect of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon twice per turn. When a card or effect is activated that targets a Blue Eyes monster you control, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Next up, we are playing a single copy of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by sending the above monsters you control to the graveyard. Cannot be destroyed by a battle. Can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. At the end of the damage step, when this card attacks an opponent's monster, but the opponent's monster was not destroyed by the battle, you can banish that opponent's monster. And we are playing 2 copies of Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. So it must first be either fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by tributing 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon equipped with a fusion monster. Unaffected by trap cards or effects, can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, once per turn. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you can target 1 trap in your graveyard and set it. Very, very powerful card that's really easy to step into. Next up, we are playing a single copy of Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon. Cannot attack directly unless this card has a normal monster as material. You can only use each of the following effects of Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon once per turn. This card is Xyz summoned. You can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. You can detach 1 material from this card and target 1 normal monster in your graveyard or banishment. Special summon it, and if you do, it gains 1000 attack. And finally, the link monsters for the strategy. We are playing a single copy of Hieratic Seals. Once per opponent's turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, quick effect, you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. If this card is tributed, special summon one dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack and defense 0. You can only use this effect of Erratic Seals and Heavenly Spheres once per turn. And finally, we are playing 3 copies of Spirit with Eyes of Blue. You cannot special summon except for dragon monsters. You can only use each of the following effects of Spirit with Eyes of Blue once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can take 1 Mausoleum of White from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can tribute this card. Special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your hand or graveyard, but if you special summon an effect monster from your graveyard by this effect, it cannot attack and its effects are negated. So that is it for the Blue Eyes White Dragon structure deck. Let me know what you think down below. Make sure that you are being kind in the comments and, discuss strategies with the Blue Eyes cards. I'm so happy that Blue Eyes is getting that support, that it can just actually be a contender for a really powerful deck. As I am all for nostalgia. I love nostalgia decks so much. And Blue Eyes is obviously the ultimate in nostalgia decks. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.